I read your note on Verizon's numbers, and you call the numbers squishy and uninspiring. Elaborate for us.
Yeah, I think the 2017 outlook certainly was a little disappointing for investors. I think people were looking for GDP plus growth, both on the top line and earnings, and certainly that wasn't what the message was this afternoon, or this morning rather. And it certainly puts probably a lot more pressure for them to either get Yahoo, AOL in the right direction, or perhaps even look for additional growth opportunities and leverage M&A.
Alex, talking about that opportunity then, what do we know in terms of the Yahoo-Verizon deal? Because there was talk in December that maybe the price would be reduced, maybe that the deal would be put to bed entirely.
Right, so we know at this point that the deal is going to be delayed. So it was supposed to close at the end of the first quarter. Now it's going to be bumped into the second quarter. Verizon is still trying to figure out what exactly the cost of two enormous hacks plus the potential liability down the road of any future Yahoo hack might be. And I think that sort of calculation will drive Verizon's thinking on how hard they want to push a potential reduction in price. As in any negotiation, it comes down to leverage. Who needs who more? Yahoo would be left pretty desperate, I think, if this Verizon deal didn't go through. Amy just mentioned that to some degree, Verizon probably needs Yahoo also, but it's more of a drop in the bucket for Verizon. So on a leverage game, you'd probably have to think advantage Verizon if they are, in fact, able to push forward on a reduction of price. Whether or not they are, I think, still to be determined. I do think that almost everyone around the deal has told me that they still expect the deal actually will go forward, though. So I wouldn't expect the deal to fall apart. That would be a surprise.
Amy, you currently have Verizon stock at neutral. You think the share price could go to 55. It's currently at about 50. How much of that is baking in the Yahoo deal? Would that have to be unwound if we saw it collapse?
Certainly, two acquisitions are not in numbers right now, and that's one that's XO, and the other one is Yahoo. I think there's a lot of pressure for them to actually get the wireless business in the right direction. Some of the things that they talked about is that on a sequential basis, certainly looks like growth is going to be much better as we head closer to 18.
Amy, talking about that wireless business getting on track, let's talk about M&A more broadly here, because with Trump now in position, it seems as though M&A might potentially go through a little bit easier when it comes to the likes of maybe Sprint buying T-Mobile. That's something that's been talked about in the market for a while. Would that be a boom or a bust for something like Verizon?
Ironically, it's probably a boom for Verizon. I think that if T-Mobile and Sprint were to merge, you would have a four-player market go to three, in which case pricing discipline could actually be reintroduced into the marketplace. And certainly Verizon would be a big winner in that scenario. But their biggest competitor, AT&T, is about to close on Time Warner Entertainment, and so certainly I think they have to address some of the growth issues that they have.
I mean, the push here, Alex, has been content is king. We can't just provide you with your mobile. We've got to offer our customers a reason to be addicted to that mobile. And it has been via content with Time Warner pairing up with AT&T and Yahoo wanting to get into bed potentially with Verizon. But when you're talking to your sources, when you're talking to the M&A guys and girls out there, are they anticipating more consolidation within the telecom space?
Verizon and AT&T really operate as a case study in M&A for companies that fundamentally do the same thing, if you rewind the clock a couple of years ago, that have gone in very different directions. AT&T first acquired DirecTV, a big deal. Then on top of that, you add in Time Warner. It's $100 billion plus in M&A in two deals. Verizon, in the meantime, has bought AOL and Yahoo. You add up those two companies, that's about $10 billion. So these two companies that really had done the same thing year after year after year, provide wireless service, have gone in very different directions. So the question now is, does Verizon take a look at AT&T and say, you know what? They actually were ahead of us in this. We need to make a counter move, whether that's something enormous like trying to buy a cable company, or maybe smaller and just trying to buy some more content? Or does Verizon say, you know what, we don't agree with what AT&T is doing. We're very content to just sort of build our mobile advertising platform out, maybe dabble in content a little bit, but we want to make sure that our focus is our wireless network, spectrum, and trying to figure out a way to generate growth, as Amy referred to, because that's really what Verizon has struggled with. And as she mentioned, in large part, it's because T-Mobile has been an upstart in this and has undercut them on price. So that's put Verizon in a tough spot. If Sprint and T-Mobile were to come together, maybe that advantage wouldn't be so distinct.